Get everything you need for your next job without the hassle at AquaBlueMosaics.com. We carry everything from high-quality pool tile, porcelain pavers, grout, fire and water features, and everything in between that you need to get your project done and put some money in your pocket. A literal showroom in the palm of your hand, we are the most powerful tool any pool contractor can have in their pocket. Become an Aqua Pro and save money on every order, get free samples, and have full access to our unmatched customer service. Easy to remember, hard to forget. Visit AquaBlueMosaics.com.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast. Today I've got industry veteran Jason Jovaag, president and CEO of HammerHead Aquatics with us. It's a pleasure to have you back with us today on the show, Jason.
Always, Joe. Always a pleasure.
You know, last time we had you on the show, we talked about your company, HammerHead Aquatics, and what your company is all about. I mean, for the benefit of those who haven't been introduced to you before or didn't get a chance to listen in on the last segment, can you give us a quick 10,000-foot overview of what your company specializes in and remind our audience about what aspect HammerHead works as a leading expert within the pool industry?
Yeah, sure. So HammerHead Aquatics focuses on swimming pool windows for high-end residential, commercial, as well as water parks. What kind of separates us apart from everyone else is we actually do design, engineering, fabrication, and installation. So it's a stop shop where that way we can actually follow the process all the way from concept through construction.
Yeah, you guys are like a triple threat as far as getting acrylic installed. And we see acrylic being used more and more in residential and commercial projects. It's become a go-to material for those looking to elevate those high-end projects. How is your work and the work your firm doing these days instrumental in some of the high-end luxury pools and spas we see being built these days?
We're doing a lot of high rises. I mean, that was kind of one of my first, big claim to fame was, having the wherewithal, the engineering behind us to do some of these large cantilevered pools that were kind of hanging off the side of the building. We're seeing that trend a lot more now in South Florida, where everything's going vertically integrated, in Miami, South Beach, up in Golden Isle. There's all kinds of places there, Golden Beach, that are doing these, multi-story buildings where the clients are asking for, whether it's a smaller plunge pool or their own individual lap pool up on their apartment or condo, ease of use, right? Most of these places do have a facility, whether it's an amenity pool and or a sports facility for them to go down to and either train and or swim. But the convenience of having your own little plunge pool on your balcony is pretty impressive as well.
Those cantilever, those acrylic pools that we see hanging off the side of the building. You're responsible for a lot of those luxury projects that we see making the cover of the magazines these days, right?
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. We've done several of them, and they just keep getting, more extreme and a little bit kind of, again, we like to push the envelope as far as what we can design and build, and we're surely still doing that to market today.
We've also seen your work in zoos and aquariums and, of course, in luxury pools. I mean, we know you operate in many different regions around the world. How do you navigate and adapt to the unique challenges of doing business on a global scale? I mean, you're based out of Las Vegas, right?
Correct. Yeah. Corporate headquarters is in Las Vegas. We travel. I've been traveling for years, 20 plus countries all over the globe. Once we start getting outside of the country, there are some logistical challenges, obviously some complications. Sometimes there is some language barrier, but our process is essentially driven the same. We've got a core process that we operate off of in order to make sure that our projects are successful. But yeah, anytime you're traveling, working in a new market, whether it's here in the United States, dealing with a new pool contractor who's never been, installing one of these windows or blocking out the opening for one of these windows, there is a learning curve that goes on. So with our design process and everything that we do, we've got a series of documented photos and easy steps for them to prepare for. We want to set the project up for success.
Can you share maybe an anecdote or a story about something that went sideways while working overseas?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of them where they missed some of our dimensions. Some of the items got interpreted incorrectly, working from, imperial to the metric system. So there's been a couple of changes that had to happen where the drawings didn't get transposed correctly. So we did lose a little bit of bearing surface, nothing catastrophic. But yes, sometimes the language barrier does affect.
You're getting a lot of stamps in your passport, that's for sure. I mean, what are some interesting projects or career milestones you've hit while working in this fascinating field?
A career milestone for me would have to be Dubai Deep Dive. I mean, that was such a great project. I mean, it still tracks, and there's, social media post about it daily. That was a very unique project in itself. One working over in Dubai, two working in the conditions that we were at, and then also just, hovering scaffolding platform, over 150 or 180-foot deep hole in the ground. It was a little nerve-wracking by itself.
Get deep into that project with me. How did your company collaborate on that project?
So we actually worked with the manufacturer on that project, Reynolds Polymer. They provided the acrylic windows for that project, and my group ended up going over there to the project and actually installing. So massive project, again, biggest undertaking. It's the deepest pool in the world at 60 meters, and the building itself originally was called the Pearl Dive Center. Now it's known as Deep Dive Dubai. They've got all kinds of fun things in there for scuba divers to go into. They host free diving competitions. So the majority of our windows in their first top 3 stories of the building, where the building is more like a big square. And then from there, the shape of the pool actually turns into a cylindrical shape. And then that's where it goes down to the bottom of the depth.
Yeah, we've seen this pool before, and we've definitely covered it in Pool Magazine. An awesome project for sure. And it's really indicative of the kind of work that you guys are making a name for in this industry, I guess. What are some of the other projects that are noteworthy in your career?
Pool wise, obviously, we go back to Market Square Tower in Houston. We've done a bunch out in Miami as well. I've done several with McLean Architecture down in Beverly Hills. With great architect, a very modern builder. We've done probably 6 projects with them for now. We're designing one right now with them in Dubai. So another trip over to the sandbox, as I call it. But yeah, residential projects primarily that we've done with them. They've all been residential, as a matter of fact. Some of them from, cantilevered pools, which you've seen from us before down in Beverly Hills. We just completed another project with them that had a big, massive 2-story water wall that was made out of acrylic. So that was a neat feature as well. It's kind of a negative edge water wall. You start out at grade level as you walk up to the home over some floating stairs, and then the water will then cascade down 2 stories into a kind of a sanctuary area down below where they've got a reflecting pond and some landscaping down there.
One of the projects that we just featured on the cover of Pool Magazine featured a acrylic wall that had an actual acrylic table and a bench. So there's more ways than just the vessel itself that people are incorporating acrylic now. And I'd really like to have you explore that with me and talk about different features and aspects and ways that people are bringing acrylic into the pool. So can you dig into some of that with me?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Yeah, the other way that some of these are being used is we are doing some of these swim up bars. So instead of just having a regular, static wall where you're looking from a sunken fire lounge, or it's a negative edge wall, what we're actually doing now is chemically bonding a bar top on the end of this, on the very top of the window. So that way you can have bar stools on, and interact with people that are in the pool, as well as people that are, sitting outside in the yard as well. So it kind of gives you a interactive experience between, the clients that are in the pool, as well as, others that may not be getting in, or maybe it's a chef's area where they're actually preparing next to the outdoor kitchen. So that's kind of another way that we're incorporating this. We're also seeing a lot of the acrylic spheres, great items being used for landscaping as a water feature. We're doing a lot of these acrylic fire boxes with floating fire in the inside of them. And then again, the acrylic water walls. Glass does have its limitations when it comes to a manufacturing size. And the possibilities with acrylic are endless with the chemical bonding technology to be able to get to some of these larger format sheets that are being used.
You know what I've seen lately is these pools where the floor is acrylic and there's a bedroom or a living space below the pool, and you can actually see people swimming from above. I mean, that seems to be becoming more popular in the luxury high-end market.
Yeah, we have one coming up relatively soon. But once I'm able to talk about it a little bit more, I'll be able to dive into that with you. But yeah, we have one of the largest floor windows coming up in the next 8 to 12 months for a project that we're going to be working on. And I will give you an example. That window is as massive. It'll be one of the largest floor windows done for a residential application at about 32,000 pounds. And that'll be over a whole dining area down below the house.
Sounds amazing. Let's switch gears from that. I mean, how does your firm, HammerHead Aquatics, partner with the pool industry in terms of education or mentoring? And in what regard is your company prepared to come in as a consultant when people need your expertise on one of these high-end projects?
Education is important for us, especially teaching, some of the newer builders that, again, have not been exposed to the acrylic before. We want to give them the tools to make them successful, as well as their project be a success. Coming in on the front end from a design standpoint, giving them do's and don'ts of what not to do, what to expect from us, what we expect from them, things to look out for as far as logistics, machinery placement on property, to where we're going to be set some of these large things. Besides that as well, we are highly regarded with Watershapes University. I've done some teaching seminars for them. We are part of Watershapes, and really like the education that they offer. And we provide our knowledge with them and do educational seminars for them as well.
Yeah, I've heard you speak before. I mean, guys really enjoy hearing you speak. You talk about techniques, you answer questions. You're almost like a motivational speaker out there, and you get these guys really pumped up after hearing you speak. I'm like, man, let's go sell some acrylic windows.
No,
But
I appreciate it. I try to keep it light. I mean, there's some, technical stuff involved as far as, the thermal expansion, which is the biggest thing that most people don't take into consideration. So we try to give everybody the tools again to be successful, but again, trying to keep it on a, lighthearted setting.
yeah, I mean, it's awesome you're able to open people's eyes to the full range and versatility of acrylic as a material. Who are some of the well-known folks within our industry you've had the opportunity to collaborate with?
There's been so many. So I've worked with Danny Wang, Custom Pool Systems, worked with the guys at LA Pool Builders. I worked with Ryan Hughes, Paolo Benedetti, the guys, a lot of the guys from Watershapes, the C&E Builders out of Arizona, another good group of guys. Marcus Hampton with Hampton Outdoors, another great guy. So we kind of touch everybody, right? We're kind of on the higher end from a client standpoint, and as far as a budget standpoint, we are not a inexpensive priced item, and most of the time, if the client is budget conscious, when they start taking a look at overall budgets, we're usually one of the first things to get V'd out of the project, just because it is one of those luxury items.
I mean, you're definitely rubbing shoulders with some of the high-end designers, some of the best known designers in our industry. I mean, could you talk to some of the current industry design trends in your field and what's becoming popular in terms of integrating acrylic features into pools and spas?
We're seeing a big wave right now in the wellness centers, so whether it's using one vessel, if they want to do a hot spa or a hot jacuzzi with a cold plunge on the other side of it, one body of water, two separate filtration systems, but they want to go ahead and devise those two tubs. We're separating that with acrylic. Obviously, it needs to be a little bit thicker to handle the thermal gain and loss between the two setups. But wellness has become a big part of our business as well. That's good getting involved with them. Hydrotherapy pools are also well from a medical standpoint, so people can see actually the way that the joints are moving and how they're doing rehab actually underwater.
Tell me, where do you see the future of this segment of our industry headed within the next 5 to 10 years, and how has HammerHead positioned itself to help grow this vertical?
I think us being versatile and not being locked into any one shape, thickness, or size. Also, touching on so many different facets. You had mentioned earlier, the other range of our business is the public zoo and aquarium market. We're very busy with all facets of what we have going on. I like the pool industry. For us, projects are a little bit shorter as far as an on-site time, but the zoo and aquarium industry for us will always be something that is, one of the larger parts of our business model.
Let me ask you, and we'll land on this last question. If there's one perception that you'd like pool professionals to walk away from what your brand is all about, what would it be?
I think it would just be turnkey and willingness to help the project succeed. I mean, we're just very open. All my guys are very friendly. We're here to help. We don't run everything by, I would say, contract portion, right? So if we're taking a look at it and my guys need to do something extra, they're willing to go the extra mile. I'm not going to let dollars, dictate which way we're going to drive this project. If by chance I'm not available, I've given my guys the tools to make decisions if I'm not around in order to make sure that the project is going to continue going. So it's just the ability to help the client, help the contractor in order to get this project across the line. Because at the end of the day, if the project's not a success, they're never going to want to do another acrylic window again. And I've heard that from other clients that have tried their first experience with others, didn't work out too well, so they've been shy away from it. And, the feedback that we get from our group is that everyone's been happy with our work. I mean, I wouldn't say 99% of all projects go very well. There are occasional hiccup here and there, but I think that's just normal for business. But, we stay open to making the project be successful.
I ask guys all the time who they're working with, especially when, a specific feature or a project comes up that has a specialty feature like acrylic. And 9 times out of 10, I ask somebody who they're working with, they tell me, yeah, Jason's the guy I'm working with. So it's very indicative of where you are in the ecosystem of the pool industry. So I'm glad you're able to check in with us today. Always a pleasure chatting with you. So glad we got the chance to catch up today.
Yeah, thank you. And like I said, we're going to be doing a little release here about our new facility in Vegas. We're going to be bringing 90% of manufacturing and fabrication of our end product actually in-house. So we will be in charge of everything in-house. So that'll be awesome from a scheduling standpoint. That's kind of the term I use, care, custody, and control, where, we own every process from A to Z. So that's going to be very beneficial for timelines, cost analysis, as well as transportation and installation. So all good things. We're just trying to make the process as easy as possible, for our projects.
That's exciting. That's coming online right now, right?
Yeah, we should be up and running in about a week. So yeah, we took keys on Good Friday. So we've been, getting the offices built out, getting machinery and tools in here, and our first load of material is showing up. We're going to have about 40,000 pounds of inventory on the floor. So that's always good to have. Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll and keep producing windows, for these projects.
Congratulations. I'll have to stop in and check out the new showroom next time I'm in Vegas.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for today. Thanks for checking in with us. Make sure to like, share, follow, and subscribe. And we'll catch you next time on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast.
Get everything you need for your next job without the hassle at aquabluemosaics.com. We carry everything from high-quality pool tile, porcelain pavers, grout, fire and water features, and everything in between that you need to get your project done and put some money in your pocket. A literal showroom in the palm of your hand, we are the most powerful tool any pool contractor can have in their pocket. Become an Aqua Pro and save money on every order, get free samples, and have full access to our unmatched customer service. Easy to remember, hard to forget. Visit aquabluemosaics.com.